I do have Red Dead Redemption 2. It's 75% off. Subnautica for under $8. Metal Hellsinger, which is basically Kill Spree Karaoke with a metal soundtrack. We got another 30 games, and a lot of these games are some of my personal favorites. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 4 a.m. Gaming Historian. 45 years of gaming. All of these opinions are my own. This week, I'm going to give you my honest take on why these games matter, not just what they are. 30 picks, and let's get into it. We got Bright Memory Infinite. It is a pure adrenaline in a game engine. If you're a shooter junkie who needs the next hit of fast-paced action, this is going to deliver it immediately. Sci-fi combat, sword and gun mechanics, a visual style that generally punches above its budget. Under $10 for something built specifically for players who want everything moving at full speed all the time. This one is for the adrenaline junkies on today's list. This is the most alone I've ever felt in a game. Something is always in the water beneath you, and the game never lets you forget it. The ocean is vast and dark and completely indifferent to your survival. Under $8 for genuine deep-sea dread that is unlike anything else in gaming. And if you love this one, let's go straight to the expansion. Below Zero is right here. Both games on sale this week for under $8 each. A frozen Arctic Ocean, this time with new biomes, new creatures, and a narrative that runs alongside your survival rather than underneath it. Grab both. Under $16 total for two of the finest survival exploration experiences available on PC. Subnautica is better of the two, but Below Zero is absolutely worth your time once you finish the original. From the ocean to space, Everspace at $2 is arcade space combat distilled to its absolute purest form. Fast, roguelite with that satisfying loop of dying, learning, and pushing further every run. 90% off for something this polished and this immediately fun. $2 for your first taste of the Everspace universe. And if this grabs you, let's head straight to the sequel. Everspace 2 is the full evolution. Think Diablo in space. Looter shooter mechanics, the build variety, the enemy factions, the open sector exploration, all of it wrapped around the space combat the original established. Under $10 for a game that turned a roguelite into a fully realized space role-playing game. If Everspace 1 is the appetizer, this is the main course, and it's absolutely worth the upgrade. Superhot's entire hook is this: time only moves when you move. And what makes it genuinely special for me is watching your actions play back in real speed after each level. You become this cool action hero in the playback without even trying. The game shows you what you just did, and it always looks so much greater than it felt when you were actually doing it. Under $8 for one of the most original mechanical concepts in modern gaming. Pick it up. We do have Café Manager. My daughters love cats, and this game delivers cozy, low-stress gameplay that hits perfectly for that audience. You're going to run a cafe, manage cats, build a relaxing space, and the whole experience is deliberately gentle. It is charming, it is stress-free, and under $6, it is the perfect gift for anyone in your life who loves cats and wants something that will not stress them out. One of the sweeter games on today's list, and check it out. Turbo Overkill gives you a chainsaw leg, literally a chainsaw attached to your leg. It lets you slide through enemies to shred them apart. If you read that sentence and felt anything other than immediate excitement, this game is probably not for you. But if you felt exactly what I felt, it is absolutely for you. Retro FPS design, at its most violent, with a movement system built entirely around going as fast as possible through as many enemies as possible. Under $8, pick it up. Mullet Mad Jack is a roguelite, fast-paced first-person shooter with nearly 50 upgrades and a 10-second kill timer that keeps the pressure constant throughout every single run. 35% off is the lighter end of today's list, but for a game this mechanically inventive and this constantly surprising across its upgrade variety, $13 for something this committed to keeping you moving is still worth it for fans of the genre. Forgive Me, Father does something I find genuinely fascinating. The more enemies you kill, the more powerful your character becomes, and the more the audio-visual experience shifts. The world literally looks and sounds different as your kill spree escalates. Lovecraftian horror FPS with a comic book art style and a sanity mechanic that rewards aggression. $5 for something this creatively distinctive. If this madness takes you fully, Forgive Me, Father 2 is more elaborate and non-linear than the original. Branching paths, more weapon variety, deeper Lovecraftian lore, and the same madness-fueled combat escalation that made the first one memorable. Grab both this week, under $15 total for a complete Lovecraftian FPS series that does the things genre has never done. $10 for the sequel that builds meaningfully on everything the original established. Metal Hellsinger is a kill spree karaoke. Rhythmic, timing, gunplay tied entirely to a metal beat. Shoot in time, build your multiplayer, the music gets louder and more intense as you perform better. I call it a kill spree karaoke, and I stand by that description completely. It is a lot of fun with a rhythm mechanic in years, and the soundtrack is generally excellent. Under $12 for a game that makes you feel like Metal God when it clicks? Pick it up. Singularity is a criminally underrated, and I love the story. Alternate history, Cold War, time manipulation mechanics, and multiple endings that are pretty mind-blowing. Each one's going to be what you just played, but in a completely different way. This came out in 2010 and got lost in a crowded release window. Under 10 bucks for a game that deserved far more attention than it received and still holds up pretty well today. The story alone is going to earn every penny. TimeShift is going to be a 2007 first-person shooter that does not get enough credit. Pretty gory with some pretty unique weaponry. A flamethrower rifle combination I remember vividly from my original playthrough. The time manipulation mechanic predates most games that get credit for it. Under 10 bucks for a shooter that is rough around the edges, but pretty inventive in ways most modern FPS games are not. Worth picking up at this price for an FPS historian. Cyber Shadow is a love letter to classic Nintendo ninja action games, Ninja Gaiden specifically, with tight responsive controls, challenging level design, and a cyberpunk dystopian setting that gets the familiar gameplay a fresh visual identity. If you grew up with Nintendo platformers or want something that captures that difficulty and precision without modern hand-holding, Cyber Shadow is exactly that game. Under 10 bucks for something that respects the player completely, pick it up. I covered Red Dead Redemption 2 on this channel just this week as the greatest story in gaming history, and I meant every word of that. Arthur Morgan's arc, the honor system, the world that remembers everything you do. This is a game I finished at 4 o'clock in the morning and sat in silence afterward for a long time. $15, 75% off of what 46,000 gaming fans voted the greatest video game story ever told. If you have not played this game, this is the price that makes every excuse disappear. Buy it now. Suit for Hire is John Wick Simulator, and I mean that as the most sincere compliment I can give. You're an assassin. Every encounter is a stylish puzzle of violence, and the whole thing commits to that John Wick energy completely. The satisfaction of a perfectly executed contract hit is immediate and deeply satisfying. $5.24 for something this focused and this fun. If you've ever watched John Wick and wanted to be John Wick, here you go. Shovel Knight is the finest NES-era platformer made in modern era, and I say that having played almost every NES platformer that actually existed. The level design is meticulous, the gameplay is tight and joyful, and Yacht Club Games built something that honors the classics while being completely on its own thing. $6 for a game that belongs in the conversation with the greatest platformers ever made. Pick it up. Anno 2205 Ultimate Edition takes the beloved Anno city building formula into the future. Resource management across Earth, the moon, and Arctic environments with an ecological crisis narrative driving the whole campaign. Strategy and city building fans, this is a perfect price for a game this good. Check it out. Euro Truck Simulator 2 is relaxation on the open road, and I mean relaxation, not the watered-down version. You are driving a truck across Europe, managing deliveries, building your company, watching the scenery change. The game community calls it a Zen experience, and they are completely right. At 4 in the morning, when everything else feels like too much, Euro Truck Simulator 2 is exactly what you need. $5 for peace of mind. Pick it up. When it comes to basketball, I'm not that big on these games, but NBA 2K26 at 86% off is a pretty remarkable discount for a current sports title. Under 10 bucks for a complete basketball simulation available. The My Career mode, the franchise management, the on-court authenticity. If basketball is your sport, this is going to be your week. I want to note, verify this price is live on Steam before purchasing. As current year sports titles at this discount level, I did check and it was still live. Grab it immediately, though, simply because of the price and for current gen. I started early as a child playing the original RollerCoaster, moving into 2, and finally we got RollerCoaster Tycoon 3. Building parks, riding my own coasters in first person, watching guests react to the chaos I created. This was one of my genuine childhood gaming memories, and the complete edition is going to hold up beautifully. $5 for a game that I have personal history with. If you played this as a kid, nostalgia alone is worth every penny. If you've never played it, discover what you missed. We got Contra Anniversary Collection, and it's pure Nintendo nostalgia. The original Contra, Super Contra, Contra 3, and more in one complete package. I grew up with this, the run-and-gun gameplay that defined an era, the up, down, left, right code that every kid in the 80s knew by heart. $8 for a collection of games that shaped what action gaming meant for an entire generation. Nostalgia fully justified. Pick it up. Achilles Legends Untold is a Souls-like action RPG set in Greek mythology. You are going to be Achilles, fighting your way through a beautifully realized mythological world with demanding stamina-based combat that's going to reward patience and precision. Under $8 for a Souls-like that uses Greek mythology as its foundation in a way that feels pretty earned rather than decorative. If you want Souls-like combat and setting this rich and visually distinctive, Achilles delivers, and pick it up. Zombies and Dying Light does zombies better than almost anything else. The parkour movement system transforms zombie survival from a horror experience into an empowerment fantasy. You are not running the undead, you are dancing through them. The day and night cycle generally changes the threat level in a way that keeps the game constantly tense. Under $5 for one of the best open world zombie games ever made. No excuses at this price. Pick it up. Dreamscaper is a roguelite where you battle through the nightmares of a young woman dealing with loneliness and isolation. A narrative layer that connects the dream combat to the waking world relationships is pretty emotionally sophisticated than most games twice its size. Under $5 for a roguelite that takes its story seriously and builds genuine emotional weight across its runs, a hidden gem that consistently surprises players who discover it. Showgunners is a turn-based running man gameplay, a dystopian game show where you fight for your survival in tactical combat with a live audience watching every move. The dark satire of reality television combined with solid XCOM-inspired tactical mechanics creates something pretty original. Under $9 for a concept this fresh and this well executed. Tactical game fans who want their strategy with a dose of dark humor, Showgunners is going to be your game. Symphony of War is a tactical RPG that punches so far above its budget, it is almost embarrassing for a bigger studio. Deep squad management, meaningful choices, a story of genuine ambition, and tactical system that rewards every hour you invest in learning it. Under $7 for something this content rich and this satisfying. If you love Fire Emblem and Tactics Ogre, this is the indie game that stands alongside them without any apology. I love anything pinball, and up next I got Pinball Spire, which combines classic pinball mechanics with roguelite progression and a fantastical tower climbing structure that gives each game a clear sense of forward momentum. 40% off is lighter than most of today's discounts, but for a pinball fan, this is still a solid entry point into something that does interesting things with a classic format. Under $9 for pinball done differently, and pick it up. And we are going to close out with Company of Heroes 2, a real-time World War II strategy at its absolute finest. The Eastern Front, combined arms warfare, destructible environments that change the tactical situation in real time, and an AI that punishes careless play severely. Company of Heroes 2 is still the benchmark for real-time World War II strategy in 2026, and it is under $5. If you have any interest whatsoever, this is going to be the one, the standard everyone else is measured against, and pick it up. What another great week. 30 games in Red Dead Redemption 2 at $15 on the same week I called the greatest story in gaming history. Might be the most perfectly timed deal I've ever featured on my channel. Get in there before these sales disappear. And if this helped you out, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Every Tuesday, I am back with another 30 games. Remember, hit F5, reset, reload. I am F5 Dad, and I'll see you on the next video.